Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, today is the final day of the 45% off sale on Etsy, Shopify, and TikTok Shop. So you still have time to get orders in. I just got a bunch of them out today. They are gone. And I'm working on yesterday's order so they can go out first thing in the morning. So you still got time. The sale will not end until 11:59 p.m. tonight. So you still have time. Well, before we get to our topic, I got something to show you. Let's see. Here we go. Let me share my screen. Look like Mitch McConnell is finally out of here. He is brain dead, and they said he ain't coming back. You know, his wife went to China. I said she could have been waiting for this moment for a long time. She was waiting. 4 days after he was hospitalized, her ass boarded a plane and flew over to China. So Mitch has been in the hospital since I think like June 11th. But yeah, boyfriend is brain dead now. He's out of here. So I guess the Most High is making the rounds now. He's making the rounds. Oh, man. We called him what? Mitch Freeze? Yeah. Well, according to the reports, I think he went into cardiac arrest, and then nobody heard anything for a long time. That's why there were reports coming out over the last few days of people saying he was already unalive, but not completely, but he is brain dead according to the reports. So look like Mitch is no more. I don't know what reaction you think I should give. You know, some of these people think they deserve respect when they deserve none. It's just amazing. So anyway, I'm not doing a live stream on that, but I thought I would show you the story at least. You know, never lose sight. This man sat in his position and undermined us the entire time. Okay, he did. He used his position against us. And maybe some of, well, I don't care about what they think. I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to forget a thing. He spent all them years in the Senate and he didn't lift one finger for us. That's how I'm going to remember him. And that's how he deserves to be remembered. So anyway, y'all, I'm done with that. So let's get to the real story of why we are here. On the 4th of July, Iran finally got around to funeralizing the Ayatollah. And 10 million people showed up. 10 million. Can you imagine that amount of people being in the streets of Iran? Well, they were. Donald Trump saw it and he was stunned. He said he did not think the people liked the Ayatollah. I said, see, that's the way y'all report things in the Western world. And because you don't like somebody, y'all always put out in the news as if everybody don't like this person. And that's not true. He was the Ayatollah for 37 years. Some of those young people don't remember anybody else being in power but him. Okay, especially if they're younger than 37. That's the only man they ever seen in power. So of course they came out big for him. I don't know why you thought they weren't. And number two, Donald Trump, you fall out and get unalive right now. You are never going to get 10 million to show up for you. You are never going to get that kind of funeral. You are never going to get, Mitch McConnell ain't even going to get that. He ain't going to get that either. Obviously, that man was well regarded. And listen, y'all, world dignitaries showed up for that funeral. And it just goes to show you that the world is with Iran. They're not with Israel and the United States. And they are showing you that. They had dignitaries showing up from all over the globe for this funeral. So that right there should tell America, this world ain't with you. They ain't feeling you, America. They're with Iran. I mean, nobody comes out for a person like that and they don't like you. This is the crap Donald Trump is walking around saying. You better be concerned about the people that don't like you, Donald Trump. Okay, because there's a lot of people in this country and outside of the country that don't like you. So he was shocked. That's what he said. And then now Donald Trump and his administration is saying, oh, Netanyahu lied to them. So I guess they got that info from Netanyahu. But see, Donald Trump is an idiot. He's an idiot. And let me tell you why. When George W. Bush, Obama, Biden were in office, Netanyahu was trying to get them to start something with Iran. They all refused. They all said no. Even Hillary Clinton has come out and said, she said no when she was Secretary of State. So they were all smart enough to stand up to Netanyahu and tell him no. Donald Trump, he approaches Donald Trump with the same rhetoric, right? Donald Trump dives in head first to get in the war. It just goes to, he uses no discernment because he don't have any. He doesn't have any critical thinking skills. He just dove right on in there based on what Netanyahu told him. So now that's what they're claiming. But you look stupid because aren't you supposed to do your own thing? Aren't you running around here talking about some IQ and all that nonsense that nobody believes? But you ran out there and jumped in this war based on only solely what Netanyahu told you. Now look at this country. You can't beat him, and Israel can't beat Iran either. And now you are shocked because that man he passed on and 10 million of his people came out for his funeral. I think Donald Trump is outdone. You didn't even get even a fraction of that to even show up for your America 250 anniversary. Little sparse looking crowd you had show up. So anyway, he's shocked. And, you know, they're saying, oh, this is serious. Yeah, because you didn't realize, you know what he thought? Because if you remember in the beginning of the war, Donald Trump said he thought it was going to be like Venezuela. So in other words, he thought they were going to take out Iran's leader and those people would be isolated and Donald Trump would be able to go in there, steal the resource, manipulate everything and screw those people over. And he has not been able to do it. They said Iran got so many people in secession, just in case one person falls. Donald Trump couldn't take them all out if he wanted to. Okay, he couldn't do it if he wanted to. But he thought they were going to be easy. They haven't. And now it's a real blow after Western media. See, this is why I was telling you all throughout the war, get your news from foreign sources. Don't get it from the U.S. media. Now, do you see why? They spent all this time talking about nobody liked the Ayatollah. Nobody liked the Ayatollah. And now all those people, now they can't say nothing. or they think their enemy is your enemy. Y'all need to go somewhere and sit down. Seriously, y'all need to go somewhere and sit down. So, y'all, let's get to it. I mean, the crowds were massive. I mean, when I say these people came out and spilled all in the streets, they really truly did. That there was so many people out there. I think even if the Ayatollah was able to wake up, he would have been stunned at how his country really came out for him. So, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. All right, y'all, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. And yeah, and they had an effigy of Donald Trump at this funeral. And I know that was another reason why he watched. And, you know, they were chanting the death to America. They had an effigy of Donald Trump, and I believe they set it on fire. And so those things also happened at the funeral. Now, I'm glad this dude right here cleared up something, because I watched clippings of the funeral just to see what was going on over there. And they had red flags. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? You know, they had solid red flags with, you know, some of the writing on it, but it was red flags. A lot of them had it. This guy is going to tell you what it is. The red flag stands for revenge. The people of Iran wants revenge for the unaliving of the Ayatollah. Mm-hmm. So they spoke about that. So it gets a little more involved. So you will see that as we get into it. Thank you for the ones, everybody.
Oh, you didn't know I'm shocked? I want to tell you something to do not be shocked again. Look at these people that they have participated in the funeral. You see all of them, they are looking red because they are carrying the red flag. What that means? The meaning of that is all they want just one thing, and that's the one.
So let me get this straight. Donald Trump just admitted he was shocked that people were crying at a funeral, sir. What? Okay, y'all, buckle up, because this man is out here proving once again that he has absolutely zero understanding of the world outside his own golf courses. So Ayatollah Khomeini passed away, right? And Iran held a funeral. Not just any funeral, tens of millions of people showed up. Tens of millions. The stadium in Tehran was packed. They were rotating new crowds of hundreds of thousands in and out like it was a Beyonce residency in 5-degree heat with mist stations and free watermelon. These people were committed. And what does Donald Trump say to Axios? I was surprised to see Iranians crying. I thought the people hated Khamenei. Maybe it's fake tears. Baby. The Ayatollah was the spiritual leader of the entire Shia world. That's like the Pope for over 100 million people across Iran, Iraq, Yemen, Pakistan. You assassinated their Pope and you're confused why people are upset? That's like knocking over someone's grandma's casket and being shocked when the family gets mad. Read a book, sir! But wait, it gets worse. Because then this man, the president of the United States, said, and I quote, "One shot, we could take them all out." He's talking about bombing a funeral with millions of civilians, women, children, dignitaries from 30 plus countries, China, Russia, India, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, the list goes on and on. And he's fantasizing about dropping a bomb on all of them. That's not strength. That's a war crime brainstorm session. And here's the part that really gets me. These same people told us Iran was about to collapse. The economy's in shambles. Nobody supports the regime. They'll welcome us as liberating heroes. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly what they said about Iraq, word for word, and we know how that worked out. You can't simultaneously tell me Iran is so broke they can't feed their people and that the regime is paying millions of citizens to fake cry at a funeral. Pick a lane. Either they're bankrupt or they've got hired 10 million crisis actors money, because the math ain't mathing. Meanwhile, Trump's own advisors, his own people, are now telling Axios that Netanyahu was wrong about everything. Everything. But here's the thing. I don't just blame Netanyahu. Obama said no. Biden said no. Hillary said no. Every president pushed back against this nonsense. Trump was the only one who fell for it like a Black Friday scam email from a Nigerian prince. And while Trump's sitting there stunned by crowd sizes, which, by the way, is his absolute nightmare, because you know that man is comparing those numbers to his inauguration. Iran is building alliances with China, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. They formed the Islamabad Quartet. They're rewriting the security architecture of the entire Middle East. And we're over here with the president who thought a whole nation's grief was a hoax. This is what happens when your foreign policy is built on vibes, Fox News, and whatever Netanyahu whispered in your ear last Tuesday. You end up turning a dying, unpopular, 5-year-old leader into a martyr and unifying an entire nation issue. Congratulations, you played yourself. If this made your blood pressure spike even a little bit, hit that follow button, because I'm not done. Share this with someone who still thinks we're winning over there. And comment below what shook you the most, because personally, the funeral bombing fantasy is keeping me up at night.
The Ayatollah's funeral drew crowds so huge, it shattered every assumption Trump's team had about Iran. And his advisors are finally admitting Netanyahu played them. Trump saw the funeral footage and was stunned, not by grief, but by numbers. Millions and millions of people pouring into Tehran, crying, chanting. Tens of millions of Iranians in a 35-degree heat, packed stadiums, processions stretching for miles. And what
Now, y'all, you remember this past weekend, Donald Trump had the 250-year anniversary in Washington, D.C. He would not allow the people even to bring coolers, drinks, ice, nothing. They couldn't even bring their own chair. It was a standing room only with nothing, and the temperature was over 100 degrees. The Iranian government arranged for water and watermelon for the crowds of people that showed up. They gave their people something. And to add insult to injury, over there, remember, the military couldn't even get fed. They wouldn't even feed the military. So I'm not shocked that they didn't feed the anniversary crowd either. They don't believe in feeding you. Apparently, they got a problem with that.
Donald Trump was stunned and panicking at the sheer size of the funeral for the late Ayatollah Khomeini. Tens of millions of Iranians showed up at this funeral procession. The stadium in Tehran was packed, and they kept on cycling in new groups of hundreds of thousands of people. And as I looked at just the sheer volume of the amount of people in Tehran and neighboring cities who came out to honor Ayatollah Khomeini, the amount of people who were there, one of the things that I thought to myself is, really, you were thinking about doing a ground invasion, Trump regime? You were thinking about going into that country with American troops and turning our military essentially into a meat grinder out there? That's what I was thinking as I saw those sites. I was also amazed, actually, not just at the size, but who attended these funeral processions of the Ayatollah. Dozens and dozens of countries attended. Top dignitaries from these countries attended. And it seems that as the Trump regime and Netanyahu invaded to try to isolate Iran from the rest of the world, it just completely backfired in their face. And it seems more and more countries are actually there showing support with Iran. And I know not a lot of Western media is showing this. I know there's some reporters on the BBC who have hat tip to others who are showing this and sharing this. And I just think it is important to see these images to be aware of what the heck is actually going on there, because look, I'll give you my own perspective, which is I do think that the Iranian regime is not the most popular thing in Iran, and I'm not being an apologist for the Iranian regime by any means at all. I do want to reflect on the situation here where there does seem to be, at least in an international level, support. I mean, you had the top Chinese dignitaries. Saudi Arabia sent dignitaries there. I mean, you had a lot of people showing up. And even Donald Trump, was saying, wow, I'm surprised that there were people who were, millions of people who were crying for the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah for the Shia community, was like their pope. It's like you killed their pope, you killed their spiritual leader and the leader of Iran, who was very old to begin with, who was losing popularity within the population. He's now replaced by his son, the Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini, and you now made the Ayatollah Khomeini a martyr, and you actually unified the people of Iran. And even in the metropolitan areas where I think there is far less support for this Iranian regime right now, they don't want the United States and Netanyahu to take over. In my opinion, they see what's happened in Gaza and the genocide there. They see what's going on in Lebanon in the name of security zones. They see the consequence of that. And if you look at what's going on and you study it, what I'm saying is reflective of the data that I believe our intelligence community knew, and they were trying to communicate with Donald Trump, but Netanyahu was saying, no, that's not true. Iran's going to fall right away, immediately. It's just going to be 24 hours. They're going to welcome Netanyahu and Trump as conquering heroes. Yeah, we said that was never going to happen at all. And then, Donald Trump chose to believe Hegseth and Rubio were like, this is
Donald Trump is shocked to see so many people attending Khamenei's funeral. As per Al Jazeera, U.S. President Donald Trump said he was shocked to see many Iranians cry at slain Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's funeral, saying to U.S. media, and I quote, "I thought people hated him." Trump then threatened to bomb the funeral and unalive Iranian leaders, saying to Axios, and I quote, "They are all there, one shot, and we can take them all out. But we are not going to do that because then we would have nobody to negotiate with. They're begging for a deal." And Trump is jealous because he knows that he will never get such a send-off. Per Al Jazeera, Ayatollah Khamenei's funeral is now officially the largest in recorded history, with about 12 million people attending the funeral since Friday. But the absolute saddest part of the ceremony was when they brought out the tiny coffin of Ayatollah Khamenei's 14-month-old granddaughter, Zahra, who was unalived by the U.S. Israeli strikes on Ali Khamenei's compound on the first day of the war.
Just a reminder, they didn't just take the Ayatollah out, they took his wife out, and, grandchildren were there, they took out the present Ayatollah, his wife was there, she got taken out. Man, wow. I guess that was a highly charged and emotional funeral, but I don't know why Donald Trump is in shock. This is what happens when you get bad information from bad people. Then look at you now. I think it's a day late and a buck short to realize Netanyahu was, he wasn't telling you anything that was factual. It's a damn shame that you couldn't figure this out before the first bomb was dropped. Now you want to figure this out? Wow, Donald Trump, you are slow. You are slow. And the thing is, they came to you because they know no other nation would have joined them in this war. But you did. But this man is always on the internet calling other people low IQ. What a joke. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And I do have another upcoming live. We're going to talk about Nolan, who was unalive, going out with a group of white teenagers. And we know what a huge mistake. I've been talking about that since I've been on YouTube, about even back in 2017, 2018, I made videos talking about you can't go nowhere with these people being some only Black person. I've been saying that for ages. And I wouldn't even allow my son to do it. So not only did I say it, I practiced it in my life. Look, we can't trust these people like this. What happened to Nolan has gone on forever now in this country. It's nothing new. This stuff was happening even when I was a child. One of our people, and they know what to do with you too. They'll take you out in the ocean, take you to some remote place in the woods, and and that's what they do. And then they're your friend, and then when they isolate you somewhere, that's when they turn racist on you, and then next thing you know, you don't come back. We have seen this played out. I just don't, for the life of me, don't understand why parents won't use better discernment and stop allowing this to happen. I don't care how they feel. I don't care if they're offended. I really don't care. The bottom line is we can't be in their spaces. Trust your instinct. What's the reason why they want only you to go, but not any other Black people are there? No, that is always a red flag, in my opinion. We all remember that sister that went to that sleepover, and I believe that was, where was that? Was that in Georgia? It was down south, and she got unalive. And to this very day, nobody got arrested. And that's exactly what always happens. Nobody gets arrested. And these kids will come back, and everybody got a different damn story about what happened. And nobody goes to jail. And in all honesty, y'all, I believe their parents be putting them up to this. I really do. Racism starts in the home, and it must be some kind of ritual. But I really, truly believe, because they were all teenagers, and in many cases, these are children that do this to our children. And I believe it's coming directly from their parents, telling them to isolate one of us, pretend to be our friend, get us in some location and unalive. I really believe it's coming directly from their family. I really, truly do. I have believed this forever now. I don't believe these are random acts. I think they are being taught to do these things. So anyway, we will get more into it. I will get that set up, ladies and gentlemen. So I will see you then. Be on the lookout for my next live, and shalom, family.